my name is Marian. I'm from the blog Miss Mustard Seed.
And I'm Kriste. I'm from the blog Rosemary in Time.
And this is Design Ramblings, where we talk about anything and all things design related. And we're in the middle of getting ready for one of our biggest fairs of the year, the Luckett Spring Market. So we've got sort of
some stuff.
It's a little messy. Well, by our standards, it's a little messy in here at the moment. So we're just bringing you into that mess. But today we thought we would talk about design styles and sort of appreciating styles that aren't your own.
Right.
Yeah, we just started talking about that yesterday as we were working, and it's like, wait, let's talk about this on Design Ramblings.
And we make lists of things where we're like, I'm going to stop talking, and we're going to talk about this later, like.
Because we want to talk about it genuinely, so then it's not like, oh, we just said this all yesterday. So, so we stopped. Of course, then I came in this morning. I'm like, what are we talking about? Totally forgot. So anyway, so what we were talking about as we were working on pieces, there are some people who just like my furniture pieces, some people who just don't like that style, and I think can't look at a style that's not their own or that wouldn't work in their house and say like, well, it's not my thing, but
just appreciating the craftsmanship that goes into it and all of that. And like Marian was working on a piece yesterday. It's this big yellow buffet, and I would never put it in my house, and it doesn't really go with my thing, but I love looking at it.
I'm so offended.
Please. Like, I didn't sit there drooling at it all day yesterday. But it's beautiful, and I'm sure, like, in someone else's home, it would be perfect, and it would look great. And there's just kind of, like, this balance that you have to meet where you can find an appreciation for beautiful things that maybe necessarily don't fit into your mold.
Yeah, and we were talking about that, too, that there are some friends that I have who also do what I do, and like Barb Blair from Knack is a great example, and her work is amazing. She really is an artist.
Yeah.
But her pieces would never work in my home. And some of them, I'm like, that's a little weird. Yeah. It's a little strange, but I can still look at it and see, like, there's just such intention there in the way that she designed the piece. So I think that there's a lot to be said for being able to look at pieces that aren't your own style and appreciating them. But I think there's a danger of liking a lot of different styles and then feeling like because you love them you need to incorporate them in your home, and then your style starts to get kind of muddy.
Right. And I think that's the hard part for me right now, is because I'm kind of, I'm still a newlywed. I'm trying to figure out what my style is, and I love so many different things. Right. So right now I have like a room in my house that's like my Miss Mustard Seed room. And it's like ironstone and blue and white and like, whatever. But yeah, it can be really hard to feel like you want to bring in all the things that you love, but somehow it doesn't work all together.
Right. Well, and I think I don't know, have you ever had people, like, you bring something into your home and people are like, well, that doesn't look like you. And it's like, well, yeah, but I still love it. Like, it's maybe different from what I think a lot of people said that about the that mural that I did in my bathroom, that they're like, well, that doesn't really look like you. But when you see it like through the hall in the context of my home, like, it works. It doesn't feel like it's really foreign or anything. So I think that there are like vintage feeling elements in it that translate to the vintage style in the rest of my home. Yeah. So that mural wouldn't work in my family room, but it doesn't have to, because the rooms are totally in different parts of the house.
And you can mix different styles in your home, but I think picking certain things like, she's picking up on the vintage quality that's throughout the rest of her home, so it works. But yeah, sometimes I'll look at things and be like, oh, I love that. That has nothing to do, like, it's just so far gone, like, so foreign. I'm like, nah.
I feel that way about industrial pieces, that I really love, this, like, a great laboratory stool or, I don't know, just things like that. I think they're really cool, and I'm always drawn to them. But when I put them in my house, it's just like, nah, it's just not, it doesn't work for some reason, even though I've seen styles that are similar to mine sort of successfully integrating, but there's something about the combinations that I have going on in my home that industrial style doesn't really work into.
Right.
So, and that's maybe just my design eye. Maybe other people would look at it and say, oh, that looks great. Why don't you
And that's where your
there?
taste kind of comes in, too.
Right.
Is, you know, someone might like it in there, but for some reason Marian just doesn't think that it fits. And that's okay, but she still appreciates it. I mean, she's always on Pinterest like, look at this and look at that. And, you know, there's still a great appreciation for it, even though it may not be something that she feels like looks good in her own room.
Yeah, so I think it's a balance of being able to look at things and appreciate them, but not to feel like you have to bring everything that you love all into one space. Although, you know, that's how you create your look. Like, you know, and I think the common denominator in all the things that you've bought is that you bought them and you love them. Unless you have, like, a lot of free stuff in your house that people have given you, and then you're like, well, that's not me, and that's not me. But you can, I think I feel like I've started to settle into my style as I've cleared out those freebies and the things that people have handed down to me that I didn't choose intentionally. And as now I'm putting together rooms of pieces that I've all intentionally chosen, I feel like my style's really coming out in a way that it hasn't before. Yeah,
I would agree with that. Right now, I have a lot of pieces that were given to me, and sometimes I find myself trying to match things to those, you know? So I'm, like, bringing things in that, like, make the room work, but I'm still like, It's not really me.
I think that's hard to do, to ignore the elements that you don't like and bring in things that you do like, and that knowing that down the road you're going to change that.
Right.
It's such a process.
Struggle. The struggle is real.
But we've all been there, you know, and we're about 15 years ahead of you, and
but this is what I have to compare myself to, so, you know.
That's right.
Just go home and cry every night. No.
Oh boy. So anyway, I think well, I'm going to say, like, what's a little nugget that we could take away from this? Like a little design nugget that everybody can take home.
I think that people just shouldn't limit themselves to what they think is beautiful or artistic, because when you do that, you really close yourself off to a lot of different design styles, and it could be something where maybe it doesn't work for you right now, or you don't think it would ever work for you, but maybe someday it would. And maybe if you saw, you know, a piece that, you know, Marian did that you didn't necessarily love in a room that, like, you know, I think that's the thing you have to remember is the big picture. You may not actually be able to see it where it ends up living and all of that, but it could be, like, the perfect piece to finish someone else's room.
And I do think that you can get a lot of beautiful rooms with juxtaposition, and even putting, like, if your style is really sleek and modern, and then you put in it's got to be the right piece,
right?
But like this antique chippy cabinet, it can end up looking really cool, that contrast, but it can also look like a total sore thumb. Like, if I put a piece of modern art in my house, it would probably just be like, ooh, it would look foreign. So I do think that context matters when you're blending things.
Absolutely.
But yeah, like, branch out a little bit, you know, explore and try to, you know, to find appreciation in things that aren't necessarily your taste. And I'm going to try to do the same, because I will say sometimes I'll look at stuff and I'm like,
I don't know about that.
Just because it's not what I would do, and that's very, very unfair to the artist. And we want to, like, be supportive of other artists and design styles and decorating styles and all of that sort of thing. Yeah. So we hope that you found something to take away there in our ramblings, and you can find us on all kinds of social media. You can find us on our blogs. And if you have something that you would like us to ramble about, a question or a space, you can send an email to marian@missmustardseed.com or
Kriste at rosemaryandthyme.com.
Yep, and that's rosemary-and-time, as in the plant time.
That's right.
.com. And we'll see you next time. we stopped, it's like, ding, 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 ding.
Like really close.
Well, because it's like, it's...
Nice.
All right, let's hope the camera was still rolling.